Well, hello and welcome people of the internet to Godly Survivors, a new bullet heaven that's slated to come out into early access on October 1st. This is the demo that's currently available on Steam. If you want to check that out, link will be, of course, down in the description as always. But we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. As for the most part, menus are pretty minimal. This is a pretty early demo build, so we're going to take some things with a grain of salt here, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop right in real quick. Only one location available currently, the cemetery, but we also have Green Day in Winter. Didn't know the band was in this, but okay, so our starting ability is going to be randomized, which is kind of different. We don't see this very often at all. Typically, we have kind of a starting ability that we can build around, but in this case, we do, of course, have a random ability, which is going to be tough, especially this one. So Meteor just kind of attacks a random space, so we're gonna have to find a way to level up here and get some new abilities. Now, we do have these towers that we can stop at. Basically, the way these towers work is it's going to take our health bar down to basically 1 HP. If we're hit, we just die, but we can do this to get an upgrade, or we can get some different abilities here. Obviously, they have all our stats that we're used to seeing. We do have a reroll, and we also have a combination map. Now, this combination map, unfortunately, not everything has a combination, which does mean that some of the skills and some of the passives are going to be more prioritized than others, which is kind of a weird decision. I'm guessing this is just because they haven't implemented all the evolutions. But yeah, so we're spheres, sunbeams, slash, nova explosion, and magical orbs is going to be kind of what we're looking for. However, I think we're just going to take the Zeus's hand. I might actually just re-roll these because I don't want another random ability. I want something that I can target with. Unfortunately, well, we'll take the Ares rune. So the Ares rune is basically, yeah, it's just this AoE. Now, when we do activate this ability, it basically wipes all enemies off the screen, which is a nice way to kind of protect us. And we just have to kill some enemies. So there we go. 2 enemies dead. The curse goes away. Our health comes back. And now we get to reap those benefits. Let's go ahead here. Oh, I guess I am going to take Zeus's hand now. Or we could just take more area. Actually, I'm going to take more area on the Ares rune. It's a pretty small area, and I want to make that... Okay, well, it keeps launching this, that. Although Sunbeams is one that we can combine, right? Yeah, Sunbeams and Projectile count. So let's go ahead and take that. Although it is another kind of randomly targeting ability. It's fine, though. So in the top left here, this is our soul counter, and basically there are these little like black orbs that we're going to need to find that enemies drop. They're kind of hard to see. I do think, you know, we have these really bright experience orbs. So here we can see the soul. This soul, I think the souls should likely be a different color. We're going to take spheres here. It's kind of going to, you know, pair kind of well with our Ares, and we can kind of have an AoE build here. The souls themselves are kind of hard to see, and I wish that it wouldn't be, you know, black on gray. They should probably be a brighter color, but these are going to be used for our metaprogression. Now, we do have 2 different ways to move around. We have the dash, which I've been using, which is tied to space, but we also have the sprint, which does increase our movement speed a little bit. That stamina bar can be found right underneath our health bar. Okay, so we have luck. There's magical orbs, so we're going to take that. That's another one that we can combine if we get... Oh, there's a little bit... Okay, there's a little bit of a visual bug going on there. And there's AoE radius. We need that. That works in combination with magical orbs. Now, I do believe that in order to combine it, we have to get both of these to max. It is possible that it's only the weapon, which is typically the case in these games, but I'm not certain of that, because now that we have this, once we level up again, when we go into that map, it also shows how many levels AoE radius is right here. So that to me implies that we need to get this to 4. I'm not exactly certain on that, but that's just my guess. Otherwise, because you could just highlight this and it would kind of show that, like, oh, you have this available to you, right? Because we currently have it, but we don't have the 4 upgrades to it. So let's go ahead and take the AoE upgrade. And that's, of course, also going to help out our Ares rune, make it a little bit wider so we don't have to get as close to enemies, and it'll protect us a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and get those magical orbs. And those, of course, are nice because they're just going to target the enemies that are closest to us, and we won't really have to worry about, you know, like these sunbeams and the meteors. They're kind of just attacking randomly. I think health regen, doesn't that combine? That combines with spheres, which we do have. And then there's also maximum HP, which is nothing. So we're going to take the health regen. Does magnet radius go with anything? Magnet radius goes with Nova Explosion, and we don't have that yet. So let's take the health regen, since we know that does combine with something. Now, as far as activities to do on the map, we're pretty limited as far as I've found so far. There are these totems here that can basically get us blessings from the gods, and this number basically increases every time you find another one. So we're going to take that. We're going to go for projectile count. So we need this, which is really, well, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, the sunbeam is a projectile, I guess. It's kind of weird. To me, this doesn't seem like a projectile, but it will work with our magical orbs, and I'm guessing it's also going to work with our, not spheres, our meteors. I'm assuming that's going to work with those, and we'll get more meteors coming down. Okay, so we need to kill 14 different guys. Just can't get hit here. There we go. All right, it already wore off, thankfully. But yeah, the only other on-map objective that I've seen is there's a circle with runes, and basically you just have to stand in it until all the runes fill up, and then you get an upgrade. So on-map objectives are pretty minimal. At 10 minutes, a boss will spawn. And something, I will say that something kind of interesting does happen with the boss. It threw me for a loop a little bit the first time it happened, but I think that there's a little bit going on there. So, man, I'm going to keep forgetting. So Ares Rune, I don't really need to worry about, but I don't need to worry about these either. So I guess we're going to go with the Ares Rune. It's fine. Basically, all damage comes at you in form of contact damage. I don't think I've only done one run of this game so far. I'm holding out on the path. What am I waiting for? I have projectile count. I have health regen. I have AoE radius. So really, it's just, am I going to get Nova or Slash? So maybe I should go ahead and get Magnet Radius and then not worry about these other two. Although cooldown could be pretty good. I think I'm just going to take the cooldown. I feel like that's just overall a decent one to pick up, even if we can't necessarily combine with anything. Yeah, so as far as I've seen, I haven't come across any enemies that actually have projectile damage, so really the only difference is visual, I guess. Maybe enemies do different damage or have different health pools, but just in my one run, I didn't really notice any difference between enemies. Maybe move speed, too. Move speed could definitely be a factor, right? Like, these guys have way more health, these mushrooms. So let's go ahead and wipe them off the map. We're going to go ahead and take our health regen, get that up a little bit. I do like the fact that they give you, you know, a couple seconds to kind of reset. Gotta be careful about these guys, though. Because they have so much health, I can't just kind of walk into them and knock them out. The fact that they kind of reset the map, though, like I was saying, it is kind of nice. There's definitely going to be, I bet, people who are like, well, that makes it too easy. But it's kind of a nice reprieve, you know? If you're going to take something that's going to give you just one hit to survive, you want a little bit of reprieve there. Okay, can we go ahead and kill 3 more, please? 2 more. There we go. All right, back to normal. And let's go ahead and get that magical orb. Actually, let's get the projectile count. And there we go. So there's the runes. So let's go ahead and walk into here real quick. Get our upgrade from here. So these runes are just going to count up, and once they go all the way around, we can leave and come back into it, which I'm going to have to do here. But it does, you know, count down. It's a pretty fast count up, count down timer. So I'm going to have to get these mushrooms away and then come in. because unfortunately they are taking a toll. We might actually not be able to get this. Let's see. Or I might just have to sacrifice a bunch of health. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and take... I don't really care for any of these. Maybe we just take luck. That's a pretty small multiplier, though. Maybe we actually take move speed? Yeah, let's take move speed. Seems reasonable. There might be, like, some fast enemies here at a higher timer. Okay, let's go for... Does it say minus 50 seconds? There's no way. There's no way that's 50 seconds. But other than that, we're really just looking for these shrines so we can get some new upgrades. We do have a kill count in the... There we go. So we can grab a freeze here. It's going to freeze all enemies, and we can just go through and kill as many as possible. I'm not sure... The 7 out of 31, I haven't really been keeping an eye on that. I've obviously been looking at the center of the screen. So it might be a wave counter. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's counting minutes. Although we have a timer on the top, but I was thinking maybe that shows like maximum time. Yeah, see, now we're at 8:31, and there's a new wave of enemies, so maybe that is what it is. Maybe it's waves of enemies. Okay, let's go ahead and pop this one. We will take the... Let's go Meteor. We just need more ways to do more damage. Especially with these high health enemies. Of course, we got an elite coming at us as well, which is not... Crap. Yeah, and then the game just ends. Just like immediately, it's like, yeah, you lost. Okay, so let's take a look. So our power-up tree looks a little bit like this. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the power-up tree. Basically, you have the amount of souls you have here, and then you just upgrade. That's about it. You know, like... Yes, you do just upgrade. That seems like a really weird thing to say. It's like, I'm unimpressed by how it upgrades, but it's just like, it's dark. You have all this shadow here. Everything's black. I get that it's not lit up because I haven't selected it, but it's just kind of like hard to see what's going on. There doesn't seem to be any real rhyme or reason. Like we have ability, maybe it's just like ability radius, magnet radius, sure, but then you have damage, critical chance. Okay, so you do have a little bit of like trees going on here, but I don't know. It's just a little kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just kind of like underwhelming. And now, so let's take a look at our characters. So we have 3 different characters to start with. We have the Warp Striker. I will say their names are pretty cool. Warp Striker, Shiftress, and Telestria. That's probably how you say it. As far as designs, obviously the characters are pretty minimally designed. But the designs themselves are kind of interesting. Now, the weird thing is, let's take a look at stats. Let's look between the Shiftress and the Warp Striker. So Warp Striker has higher health, has higher damage, has higher armor, has the same luck, has the same move speed, has more stamina, has the same magnet radius, and has the same ability radius. So the only difference between these two is the fact that their dash ability turns you into ghost. That's definitely not a his, increases. She can pass through enemies and take no damage. So the only reason to play this character, because, right, our starting ability is random. The only reason to pick this is just for a different dash ability. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. And the same thing can be said for Telestria, right? So let's take a look at these again. So we have max health is 130. Max health is 100. So Warp Striker wins there. Damage, 120, 100. Okay, we win there. Armor, 2, 0. Warp Striker wins there. Luck is the same. Move speed. Okay, so this is a little bit faster. but we have less max stamina, same magnet radius, same ability radius. So again, really the only difference, obviously we do have the move speed difference, that is higher in Telestria, but the only real difference is the teleport. So I don't know why you would necessarily pick, it's not clear to me why you would pick any character over Warp Striker. Now, that being said, we are going to play the Shiftress just to see how the ghost ability feels, but I maybe there's something I'm missing, but I'm not fully getting it. Maybe the abilities are completely different, right? So let's go ahead and jump in. Cemetery. And it is not working. Okay, let's go back. I can't backspace. I can't go out. Okay, we're going to pause. I'm going to reset the game, and then we're going to give that another shot. Okay, we've booted back up. Let's go ahead and play Cemetery. There we go. Now it's working. So we're going to start. Okay, it looks like we're starting with Meteor again. Let's, you know what? Let's give this a different shot. I don't really want to start with... Okay, so looks like you can't play twice in a row. You have to restart the demo. So we're going to pause again and restart the game. Alrighty, let's give this one more shot. Play Cemetery. Give me something other than... There we go. Okay, we will take the Nova Explosion. That's perfectly fine. And let's give this the old college try. Yeah, so, like, that's kind of an... I mean, if you even saw it, we definitely activated our dash. It's a little bit underwhelming. There's no, like... sound or anything. You just kind of turn black and well, now I guess I'm taking the Nova. Let's go ahead and take magical orbs. Let's take, I guess we'll take Zeus's hand, something a little bit different. Let's give that a shot. Okay, so Zeus's hand is another one that hits close up. We'll increase the cooldown on that, sure. It also says click to open. I can guarantee you I've never clicked that once. Let's go ahead and take the increased damage for all abilities, especially considering we have less damage than we did on the, what was it, the Warp Striker? Ooh, what is that? I think did it just give us a blessing? I think that just gave us a blessing because I don't think we leveled up. So let's go ahead and re-roll once. Let's go ahead and take Dagger. We haven't tried Dagger yet. Throws Dagger in the direction the character is looking. Interesting. So even though there is auto-aim, there are abilities that don't use auto-aim, which is a little strange. I would figure that you would either have auto-aim completely turned on or not on at all. And there's no setting for it either. The settings are pretty minimal. Even as far as sound settings, there's no differentiation between sound effects or music. It's just music or master. So basically I'd turn the master down and then turn the music up to kind of compensate. Okay, let's take the magical orbs again. Let's go for... Let's just get the more might. Let's just get more damage. So I'm also noticing that there's a little bit of... Basically, the animation speed of throwing the dagger is a little bit too slow, where it's only showing it 1 out of every 2 times, right? So, like, she throws it, she throws it again, but there's no animation. So it's like the animation speed isn't necessarily catching up with the animation of the actual dagger itself. And this should be a blessing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get the magical orbs up. Let's grab more damage on Zeus's hand. Let's grab the health regen. Let's grab... Oh, let's get the projectile up on the daggers. Let's do the same thing for orbs. I'm not sure why all of a sudden I'm getting a million. Did I level up a bunch? I'm not sure why I'm getting a whole bunch of blessings here. Let's go might for more damage. Okay, let's go ahead and trigger this. 28. Let's go ahead and do... Let's go for move speed. Get more damage on the daggers. There we go. Nice. Got out of that, no problem. Having an ability we can aim, though, is actually going to be beneficial for us. Trying to blow up all the different crates and stuff. When it's just automatic, I've noticed that the abilities do not target things like barrels, which is it's both a good thing and a bad thing, right? If you're surrounded by enemies, you obviously don't want your attacks to be targeting barrels, but when there's no one around you, obviously, you know, you want it to be targeting barrels. Which is why I like systems that allow you to use like the right mouse button to kind of you can hold it down and turn on manual aiming for when you need it. It's a feature that I've noticed is kind of like, I don't know, probably included like, if I had to put a rough estimate, like 25 to 30% of the time. But I definitely think should be included more. I'm going to go ahead and get Zeus's hand here, I think, for the more damage, but also the more bounces count, just to hit more things. Okay, we've already got this, so we can leave here. We can go ahead and find another upgrade. It's like this box we can target. It is just health. We don't really need that, but it's fine. We can pop it open. We do get some souls here that we can pick up. And let's go for... Do we need projectile speed? That's for slash. I haven't even seen slash, I don't think. Let's just go for cooldown. But of course, I don't think we're going to see slash because we've already picked all 5 of our skills. The only thing I can think of why you would want this character's like dash ability over the dash of the first character we played is maybe if dashing doesn't give you iframes. Let's go ahead and increase. Do we have anything that duration really matters for? Not really, right? So let's just take the move speed. If dashing didn't offer you iframes, then I could potentially understand it, because then if you're surrounded by enemies and you dash, you're still going to take damage. But I'm pretty sure that there are iframes on the dash, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the benefit is. Why you would want to go with this character over the other when all the other stats are higher, either higher or the same, I should say. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Yes, okay, we will take projectile count. Obviously, we don't have the sunbeams this time, but it's good with everything else we have. Let's take the health regen. So we're at level 17. Is this going to give me a bunch? Oh, okay. So it's basically a magnet. Got it. Got it. Let's grab... Yeah, projectile count. Let's grab... Oh, that's a lot more projectiles. Okay, we'll take that. Let's take the health regen. Let's get that up. And now at this point, we really don't have to aim the daggers. Which is kind of an interesting version. Typically, I would expect with this kind of ability, right, with the daggers, rather than going all around us in a circle, that it would just increase in like a cone shape in front of us, since they've kind of trained us to say like, oh, well, you need to aim your daggers. You know, that's the only thing that we have to aim in this game. So it's a little odd that now all of a sudden it's basically just another AoE weapon as opposed to being a more directional based weapon. It's still so odd to me that this is 50 seconds. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's supposed to be 5, but even then, that seems a little fast. Okay, let's go dagger again. Let's just start getting our cooldown up. Well, our damage is much better and more consistent with this build, that's for sure. The mushrooms are going down quite a bit easier than they were before. Likely because a lot of our skills now are actually kind of targeting enemies as opposed to like the meteor that just gets kind of fired around wherever. Let's increase projectile count. Alright, any other towers nearby? Not seeing anything. Although I would prefer the rune map objectives as opposed to the towers. Obviously they're a little bit easier, just gotta stay in the same spot for a little bit. There's a barrel, maybe we can find something in here. Nah, it's just health. It looks like those are just always health. Health and experience. Although, I guess they also drop magnets, too. Magnet would have been a decent pickup. I would have taken that. Okay, well, we do have another tower, so we're going to go ahead and take that. We have enough damage here that we can, you know, do these pretty consistently. Let's take, I'm just going to keep leveling up dagger, honestly. Like, the more projectiles we get, the easier it's going to be to hit enemies as the daggers spread out, right? Because it's going to shrink that radius in between, or shrink the angle in between daggers. And I'm not going to take this tower, basically, because I want to make sure that we get to the boss. Because I do want to show you guys off the boss fight, and I don't want to, like, freakishly die like we did last time. I'm going to take the cooldown here. Alrighty here. So, yeah, so once we hit the boss, we get kind of this change in perspective where it almost turns back, it turns into like an old school, like traditional, like bullet hell, where the map basically stays in one place and you just kind of got to dodge. Now, obviously the boss went down very fast. It's not like it's a difficult boss. It's just kind of an interesting change of pace to see. Whereas typically the boss would just spawn, you'd fight it like normal. Now, obviously the fight kind of just gameplay-wise was the same, but it's kind of an interesting concept to turn the boss fights into more of an arena fight. Oh, I think those might have been the first projectiles I've seen, unless they were ours, but it looked like they went past us. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's just take might. And I feel like I'm good. Like, based on the damage that we're outputting, I don't feel like it's necessary for me to take these towers anymore. It just... Now, obviously, knock on wood here. We don't actually want to die. But I don't really feel right now like I'm in any danger compared to where the build was maybe, you know, 5 minutes ago. And I don't really want to take the tower because, like, that's how I'm going to die, is taking that to get one power up and then just get randomly one hit by something and end the run. I would rather stay up here and just kind of, you know, lose out on one level up. Yeah, see, even the, I mean, the dash length is so short. It like, regular dashing would have got me out of that situation a lot better. So we're going to increase... I'm actually going to take health regen. I think regular dash is even better than the dash on this character. I think just strictly everything, except maybe the design of the character, is just better on the first character we played. So basically, I'm just kind of looking for the rune upgrades. Those are really the only ones that I'm looking to take, you know? Yeah, like this right here. I'm willing to take these. These are fine. I'll take these all day. The towers themselves, though, no, they can stay back. Oh, now it's having me click to open. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll just take. Actually, we'll take meteor. Sure, I'll take an extra meteor. I think the meteor effect is actually pretty cool. The way that they all come in at, like, different angles is really interesting. You know, a lot of other games would typically just have, like, you know, it runs straight down into the ground. But the fact that it's coming from, like, this 45-degree angle, kind of like over-the-shoulder perspective, but then they're also coming at different angles, so you know that it's not... Well, while the animation might be exactly the same, you know they're not all just coming from the same direction and hitting the ground at the same exact angle. They're all kind of coming from different spawn points in the ether on the closer side of the screen, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and take the... Yeah, let's keep leveling up the meteors. I don't know, it's just like, it's kind of just a nice little, you know, it's like a nice little detail touch. Yeah, on this character, it feels like to get away, it's better to sprint than it almost is to use our ghost ability. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have, but for the most part, the sprint, just sprinting around enemies is being more efficient than turning into a ghost and running straight through a pack. Because half the time, you know, I turn back into a regular character when I'm midway through the pack. Okay, let's just force the dagger up. Ability is radius. Yeah, let's get that. And we get another projectile. Let's get cooldown. Alright, so we're basically just going to keep, like I said, we're just going to kind of run in the same direction, trying to find some more runes. Because for the most part, there's no real reason to stay in one position. Except for, I guess, the fact that we could be picking up more experience. I guess that is a reason to stay in one direction. Let's go for magical orbs. Increase those damage. Just literally walk through and just slaughter a whole lot of frozen enemies. Got a little Charles Xavier thing going on. We just freeze everybody and then just, you know, walk through them and destroy them. See, where are we at to... Oh, we don't have any combinations that we can go? Well, that's a bummer. That is a bummer. All right, let's go for Zeus's hand. Let's get that working up a little bit. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long we're waiting we're waiting for. I'm assuming, based on how this has been playing out, that this is a wave counter, so we're counting down waves of enemies. I don't know if that's synced with the timer at all, because based on the comparison between these two, it looks like a full round might end up being closer to 30 minutes or 25 minutes maybe, as opposed to 20 minutes. But I'm guessing that this is more so the end counter, so maybe waves spawn as you finish off the entire wave of enemies. Let's take the... Yeah, probably just keep getting the magical orbs up. Yeah, okay, so we can clearly see that we just hit another wave of enemies, right? This went up to 18. As soon as this went up to 18, we started getting purple mushrooms coming at us. We do have a cemetery here. I don't think there's a... Oh, no, I guess not. That was just... I thought this was a gate inside, but it was just the backside of the cemetery. Okay, we're gonna definitely need to start getting a little bit more damage. These guys are starting to get a little bit tankier than the other enemies that we've been fighting. So we're gonna kind of backtrack here and just pick up some more experience. Okay, let's go for Nova Explosion. I'd really like to find a magnet, though. That would be great at this point. There's probably so much experience that we've left behind us. Let's go ahead and get the cooldown up. Cooldown affects everything. There was a barrel up here, though, I think. No, I think I broke it. I think it's that health spawn. Okay, here's another rune, though. We'll sit in this. And we'll get the meteor for more damage. Okay, so we have another boss. Okay, let's take him out. Little fish boy. Come on, little fish boy. What you got? Oh, okay. He brings along waves of enemies. Actually, the first boss did the same thing. Okay, that boss was no different than the first boss. Luckily, we get a bunch of blessings here. Let's go ahead and grab the area radius on that. Let's grab more damage from Might. Let's grab the duration damage. No, let's start getting Nova up. Let's get magical orbs. Zeus's hand for more damage. Yeah, so we have new enemy types now, but that boss basically did nothing that was different from the first boss. It was the same. The first boss, I think, well, I don't remember if it did it when we played it because we beat it pretty quick, but did the same thing, launched 2 waves of enemies across the screen, and other than that, that boss just kind of walked at us. Didn't really do much of anything. Oh, and it looks like it might not be timer-based. I thought we hit the 20-minute mark. It might be wave-based. Yeah, so I'm going to... Never mind. Can't adjust settings in-game. I was going to say, I'm going to adjust the sound settings, turn sound effects down, turn the music up, but can't do that. There is no adjustment of settings to be found in-game. Okay, let's go ahead and get that magical orb up. More damage and more projectiles. Okay, we're on wave 22. Let's go. Almost there. I want to see what the final boss fight is like. There we go. Okay, let's get the... let's get more... Let's level this up. Let's level our Nova Explosion up. Meteor goes up again. Ability radius. Let's get that up. Damage ability radius. Yes, let's put those together. Yeah, daggers actually feel pretty strong. I don't... Based on just, like, how much damage we're doing this run compared to last run, and all our abilities are kind of the same, except for the Zeus's bolt, right? I don't know. Just the fact that it's hitting everything around us, like, it's kind of a better Ares radius, right? It's kind of doing the same thing, where it's just hitting all the enemies around us, but it has a larger distance. Obviously, the farther out you go, the less accuracy it has. But... that being said, it can still hit enemies that are literally outside the frame of reference of the screen. So, yeah, that just seems like it's just a better version of the Ares radius. Right? And, like, if you have enemies that are close up, you can actually hit them. I'm assuming you can hit them twice if you get them in a spot where where 2 different daggers can hit. Whereas the Ares attack can only do 1 tick per enemy, I would assume. Okay, we got another tower there, which I don't need. We can, though, however... I don't have to activate this, but if I come in... Yeah, so we're at 96 kills to trigger that. Again, I'm not going to do so because I want to try and make it to the end here and see what happens at the end. And don't want to die some freakish death just for one upgrade. At this point, we don't need it. There's more runes up here, though. Those we'll definitely take. These are basically free. And I will take... I think I'm going to take the bounce count on Zeus's hand. Help clear out some groups of enemies. Alright, almost there. We have 26 out of 31. Slowly making our way there. Let's go ahead and get that. Do we want, yeah, I guess we'll get... You know what? I'm actually going to get player move speed here over bounces count. We do have enough bounces. I do want to get a little bit of additional movement speed. I keep using my shift a lot to try... Or, I say shift, my sprint, to get out of certain situations, so I don't want to fully rely on that in case I run out of sprint. Okay, let's go Nova Explosion. In terms of HP regen, we actually heal up pretty quickly with only 2 levels of regen. It's not like we heal up, you know, 20 health a second or anything, but overall, comparatively speaking to other bullet heavens I've played, the amount of HP regen we have is quite fair. So that's nice. I've definitely, you know, we've played some games recently where you get some HP regen and it's like a percentage of a percent of healing, and it's like, well, that's not worth anything. You're hitting me for a quarter of my health and it's going to take me 3 minutes to recover that? Like, come on now. But this is doing just fine. All right, 28 out of 31. We are almost there, people. We are almost there. Let's go ahead and space out of that. Sprint out of the rest of it. I was hoping for a magnet there. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Wave 29. Here we go. So I'm assuming that the next wave is... So either the next wave is going to be a boss, or it's wave 31 is the final boss. I'm assuming. Oh, a reward from the gods in form of a couple dozen souls. Oh, okay. So, oh, well, I just ran my mouse into my freaking keyboard. Oh, restores health. Okay. Oh, so I guess these are the only level ups we have left. Yeah, okay. That's what it looks to be. Okay, so when you max everything out, it starts giving you either souls or heals. Makes sense. Okay, we'll take the last ghost forms, and now we just have souls to take. Yeah, looks like we're getting a lot more elite spawning in this wave. Just take all the souls. Freeze them, walk through them, get a bunch of kills. Man, they're dropping all the magnets now. Maybe it's elites that drop the magnets. Okay, even this boss was frozen. Okay, so now you drop AoE attacks that are pretty straightforward to dodge. You still have the double wave mechanic that you're throwing 2 waves of enemies. And that was it. Okay. Oh, so it must be this is the wave that you've completed. So we completed 30 waves, and then 31 was the boss. So in terms of damage, let's see. Yeah, Dagger was... What is that? 1,000,000 damage? 1,000,000 damage. Zeus's Hand, 750,000. Meteor, 250,000. Arch Missile. Yeah, okay. So Dagger was clearly the best thing we had going for us. Yeah, so Godly Survivors. I'm not gonna be honest, I'm not very impressed with this game. I don't think that it's I mean, looking at the early access demo, sure, it's probably a very early alpha build. But there's just like nothing here, man. It just feels very uninspired. It just feels very generic. There's only 2 different things to do on the map. Other than that, you're just surviving half an hour through enemies, and all the enemies are exactly the same. Exactly the same. There's no projectiles. There's no, like, I don't know, teleporting enemy. Like, there's just nothing. Every enemy is just a different sprite that walks at you. Some of them have more health, but that's about the only difference. Even the bosses were exactly the same, except for the last boss, which did have an AoE attack, but the first 2 were basically identical. And even the third one did the exact same thing, summoning 2 waves of enemies. The only difference was that he had the AoE attack. The level up system, I mean, is fine, but that's about it. It's fine. It's a little bit weird that you would put a combination system in the game and not give a combination to every weapon, because it basically incentivizes you to specifically take those 5 power-ups over the others. It's a very weird system. Now, obviously they're planning on having a cooperative mode and endless mode, which, you know, is fine. I know that there are a lot of people who are looking for cooperative bullet heavens, so I mean, you could put this one on your list to try, but there are so many different options out there. And again, I'm baffled by this decision. Unless there's something that's just not being told to us in game directly, I don't understand why this is the only thing. Like, the dash is the only reason you would pick this character over this one. All his stats are better. I don't fully understand that. Same thing with this character. Again, we can say that the movement speed is slightly better, but is that really why you're going to take this character for the 0.2 meters per second move speed? I mean, sure, you get to teleport the character, but I mean, you saw in the game we just played with this character, I mean, how often did we really need like a dash? Like, we had our ability to turn basically invisible and walk through enemies, but most of the time, as long as you have reasonable damage, and I don't even, like, we didn't have like a busted build or anything, we had 0 combinations. Really, it was just the fact that Dagger had a bunch of projectiles and it's a pretty strong ability. Like, there was really no reason why you would need the teleport. So yeah, the character decision is a little odd, especially the fact that, you know, typically in these games you have a certain basic attack type that makes you want to pick a certain character, right? You play a game like, I don't know, like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, you're going to have different characters. You're going to have like your heavy artillery characters. You're going to have your more like assault rifle characters. You're going to have the SMG character. You play Death Must Die. You're going to have, you know, the Knight has his basic sword attack. You have the Orc, which is like his major like swinging attack. You have, well, it's, you have the mage, which has the more projectile spell-based attacks. You have the, oh, what's he called? The, is it Lorien? The archer, right? So you have you have different types of basic attack skills to work with, and then obviously the skills themselves are the same between all the characters, but typically, or Soulstone Survivors, that's one that we've been playing more recently here on the channel, where each different each different character comes with 4 different weapons, and each weapon gives you 2 different skills that drastically change the way that you want to build that character, assuming you want to build around those 2 skills and not just around the bonuses that the weapon gives you. But here there's I don't know, that being the only difference, it is really strange. Obviously we ran into a couple bugs, the fact that if I were to play this again, it's not going to let me play. I have to shut the game down, open back up. That's kind of whatever. That's not really a, it's not a hit or miss to the game itself. That's more just a hit to the actual build of this game. Not being able to change your settings in game is a little strange. I don't really understand that reasoning, but yeah, overall, I mean, I don't know how much they're going to be charging for the early access of this game, but there's so many bullet heavens out right now. I'm not sure the reasoning of why you would want to put this one near the top of your list to try out, to be completely honest. And that's what I'm doing here. I don't want to sugarcoat things. If you're watching this and if you've gotten this far, you're probably wondering whether or not you should pick up the game for yourself. Obviously right now it's in a demo, but if they're going to be charging for early access, you might want to have an idea of, should you spend your money to buy this game? And if this is the build that comes out in early access, right? It could be, I mean, my opinion could completely change if the early access comes out and all of a sudden it's like early access build 0.7 and there's a bunch of new features. Obviously, yeah, my mind would change. Well, it would definitely be changed. Whether or not how positive it would be, obviously would depend on the build, but as it stands right now, yeah, this is probably one to pass up on. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you had a good time, you had fun at least hanging out with me here, would you kindly smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more roguelike content just like this. But for today, guys, I've been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.